Get off the slack line and grab your patchouli oil, because today we're looking at a couple all-button controllers sent to us from the fine folks over at Granola Arcade. Now this one right here is their base offering called the TrailMix, and those familiar with these style of devices can see that flat box lineage. What perhaps makes these stand out a bit beyond similar devices is the overall case design. The enclosure has an atypical, almost open-air aesthetic. We see that Granola Arcade is really leaning into its branding with nature-inspired names and designs. Now the TrailMix is their basic no-frills $60 model that you see here. They've got a leaf on the front, and then a user has a choice between 25 case colors and 4 different PCB colors to add a bit of flavor. Looks like they've sent us green and blue respectively. And then alongside it is their more premium Raindrop model. They've kept with some similar colors in the one they sent us, a sort of Planet Earth vibe, and again, they've leaned into some wilder case aesthetics since the button cutout areas are in the shape of raindrops. Both units have fully committed to that small form factor. The dimensions reflect that, and then the 3D prints also serve to keep the weight very low. So if you prioritize portability, that will be a plus. The quality of the prints also seems very good, and I don't see any stringing. Something of note is that there are no screws holding the board. To open it up, you need to grip the controller like this, and then press firmly on this left edge area. It should flex just a little bit, and that's enough to dislodge the PCB for any maintenance or whatever. Then, when you want to get it back together, you'll need to line the PCB up with the grooves along the top and the sides. Push it up toward the top groove, and then push firmly on that left top area again until you hear a click. Definitely an interesting design. The Raindrop is hot swappable, but for the TrailMix, you'll need to commit to your switches when you order since they are soldered in. Granola offers 4 different chalk V1 switches, red, Red Pro S, pink, and white, so a good variety of linear plus a clicky option to hopefully appeal to the largest swath of users. The ones installed in this particular device are the Red Pros, and this is what they sound like. The Raindrop takes chalk V2 switches and everything is 3D printed. I think that works well to keep costs down, but it would be nice to see some smoother Sino arcade style caps being offered as an option upgrade for the Raindrop. And if we're wishing, I'd also like to see them play with the layout just a bit. Even just adding some extra buttons really speaks to the fight stick snobs like me who like having too many options. The sweep of the action button fingers is nice, however, and something a bit beyond a straight Vuelix. Now, here are some of the notable differences between the devices at a glance. They appeal, of course, to users who relish the small and the compact, and as such, they are much smaller than a branded hitbox. Here's what they look like compared to one another, and then how their footprint differs from similar 3D printed options. Pretty comparable, but the environmental theming does definitely help them to stand out. If you'd like one, you could also feasibly print your own. All of their designs are open source, though it looks like they used the more restrictive non-commercial Creative Commons license. But people who like the aesthetic are still welcome to make their own PCB, print their own cases, and remix the designs, so that's good. I think at a glance you can probably tell if the vibe is something you're going to jibe with. These offerings are a play on a classic, but with their own little flavor, sort of a cucumber sandwich equivalent of the Flatbox. If you'd like to buy an assembled one direct, Granola Arcade has a website storefront and they ship quickly from their headquarters in Seattle, Washington. The slightly bad news is that since Sajam gave a shout out to the Raindrop on his stream, Granola Arcade has since exhausted their stock of that particular model. However, the good news is that the Raindrops restocking shortly here are getting a nice improvement at no additional cost. In a nutshell, the newer ones will come with the pass-through mode pre-configured in the GP2040CE firmware. They achieve this with a USB port sticking out the side so that a user could grab an appropriate Mayflash style device to enable play on current gen hardware. And all that for the same price. In my opinion, that will give it a nice value boost. And speaking of value, these units are relatively cheap compared to more traditional hitbox builds. The Raindrop is priced similar to the SGF Bridget and clocks in at $90 shipped. The prices aren't out of step with a lot of other offerings, especially if a user doesn't want to make their own, and doubly so if they appreciate the unique case aesthetics. Still, if you'd appreciate some further savings, then Granola Arcade wanted to give viewers of this channel a little discount code that I'll post in the comment section. I don't get any kickbacks, I'm just a dude on a quest to try every controller in the world. I feel if you like flatbox style stuff, then you'll probably enjoy these offerings. But what do you guys think? Is this another fresh option for the all-button connoisseur in your life? What colors would you go with? I think an orange and a red one could be cool for an autumn leaf vibe for some seasonal play. Or maybe even a blood red Raindrop for the Slayer fan in your friend group. Anyway, thanks to Granola Arcade for sending us the controllers. And thanks to you, dear viewer, for watching. Support your locals, and I'll see you next time.